It's what you get into politics for. You want to make a difference. You end up in a position of power and think, right, OK, maybe I can do something about this. And you were showered in confetti when they welcomed you there. But that's a great photo opportunity. Tangibly, what can you do?
Speak out about it, but also call for a European-wide response to this crisis, because what seems to be happening is that more and more countries are sort of beginning to say, hang on, we can't cope with the numbers of refugees. Individually, Germany has done by far the most. Other countries have done some, others have done nothing at all. We need a European-wide agreement on this.
But you know how difficult that is to achieve?
Yes, I do.
It's disparate.
I do.
And everybody's fighting their own corner. We don't want to do that, we don't want to do that.
I do know how difficult this is to achieve. But surely, as a continent that suffered from refugees, problems, in the run-up to the Second World War, after the Second World War, we coped. We had the European Convention on Asylum and many other things. We have to do a couple of things. One is press very hard for a political settlement in Syria. Most, but not all, of the refugees are from Syria. But we also have to share the help out
said over
across
the weekend,
across
you were talking over the weekend about bringing unaccompanied children in. I just want to clarify what it is that you want to do.
Look at the unaccompanied children that are there and see what we can do to help them. Because
what can we do? There's already a fostering crisis in this country. There'll be a lot of people watching this and say their children can't grow, as they're growing up, trying to get onto the housing ladder. There's not council houses available. Where do they go?
There are some refugees here already. They have settled very well. They made an enormous contribution to our society. At the very start, what I'm saying is those that have a clear family connection in Britain, uncle, aunt, family, that sort of thing. Listen, I met a guy, young guy, in a tent, lovely guy, who clearly would make a fantastic fist of his life. Can't get into Britain because I guess his mum doesn't earn enough money or something like that. She goes over there to take food parcels to him, living in a disgusting tent. She's not a wealthy woman. Young man like that, surely somebody like that deserves to be allowed in.
If it was just these people there and then you think, right, we'll bring them in. But then the fear is, and that's probably why France aren't taking the blankets and bananas, they don't want to make it so easy because they worry that this will act as a magnet and it'll be, look, it's open, they're taking people in.
We cannot just ignore the fact that there are large numbers of people who are in a very serious, deeply depressed state, and they need our human help.
What about the British anarchists over there? We've been reading over the weekend that the British anarchists were partly behind that raid on the ferry terminal. So do you condone?
No, of course not. The people I met in the camps, and indeed two of the volunteers gave me this report they've written. This is a cri de coeur from volunteers, young people, mainly young people, mostly from Britain, some from Belgium, some from Sweden, some from Switzerland, doing an incredible job trying to share out food and so on, and telling me with tears in their eyes about how worried they were of unaccompanied children suffering threats and suffering pressure, and some of them very mentally disturbed, and they're just saying, something must be done. Please put pressure on all governments, French, British, and all European governments, to be a bit more human about this.
Deb says we have an NHS that's strained as it is, schools underfunded, hard-working people living in poverty. Let's sort our own problems before dealing with anything else.
We do both. We sort out our own problems by, instead of cutting public services, investing in public services and a growing economy, which increases our tax base, which obviously improves the ability to fund our public services properly. The amount of people we're talking about here is, as you've indicated, a total of 9,000 in those camps. There are clearly many more on the borders of Europe and many more in Greece. Greece has a far greater problem, and Italy has a far greater problem than any other country in Europe. They need help as well.
We spoke at the beginning about getting into this job to have a voice and to have power and to be able to do something. Do you think you'll still be in your job by the time the election comes along?
I'm doing my very best to present politics in a human way, to also campaign for Labour to win the general election in 2020 on a policy of investing in housing so that every young person gets a house, investing in education so young people get real opportunities, investing rather than privatising in our health service, and an expanding economy.
Is the entire party behind you on this?
Party members are very happy, and I spend a lot of time travelling around the country campaigning, and I have the most fascinating debates you've ever heard in your life with some of my colleagues in Parliament. But we're getting on fine. Listen, we defeated the government on tax credits. We defeated them on police cuts. We defeated them on that appalling idea of running Saudi Arabia's prisons on behalf of its royal family. So we are making progress as a party. Don't worry about that.
So they're getting behind you now, do you think?
Everybody's getting along just fine.